The Great Wall of China is one of the oldest, largest, and most celebrated accomplishments of human ingenuity. The history of the Great Wall can be traced back to the Western Zhou dynasty and extended to the Qing dynasty. For nearly 3,000 years, almost all dynasties had built the Great Wall. But there's a lot more to this ancient marvel than just bricks and legends. Sure, you've heard it's long, like ridiculously long, and that it was built to keep out invaders. But did you know parts of it were once held together with sticky rice? Or that it's not one continuous wall? Well, get ready to have your mind blown because in today's video, we're about to reveal 15 secrets about the Great Wall of China you never knew, some of which may surprise you. Number 15. The Great Wall was built over thousands of years. Most people imagine the Great Wall as a single massive construction project. In reality, it was built piece by piece, dynasty by dynasty, over a staggering 2,200 years. The earliest fortifications date back to the 8th century BCE, long before China was even unified. The first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, kicked off the first large-scale wall-building effort in 221 BCE, connecting smaller regional walls into one defensive barrier. Over the centuries, various rulers kept expanding, reinforcing, and reworking the structure to fit their military needs. But the most iconic sections, the ones tourists flock to today, were primarily built by the Ming Dynasty between the 14th and 17th centuries. What we call the Great Wall is actually the result of generations of labor, evolving tactics, and changing threats. It's not just a wall, it's a time capsule of Chinese history, capturing the legacy of emperors, wars, and centuries of ingenuity. Number 14. The Great Wall is disappearing. For centuries, the Great Wall stood as a symbol of resilience. But fast forward to today, and nearly 1/3 of this colossal structure has already vanished. Erosion, vandalism, and urban expansion are slowly chipping away at history, leaving behind only scattered remnants of what was once a mighty fortification. Natural forces like wind and rain have worn down sections of the wall over time. But the biggest culprit? Humans. Farmers have repurposed its stones for building homes, while reckless tourism and illegal mining have further weakened its structure. Despite efforts to preserve it, many parts of the wall, especially the less traveled sections, are in ruins. Battling, the most famous portion, remains well preserved, but it's one of the few exceptions. If we're not careful, the Great Wall may become just another relic confined to history books. So, the next time you visit, remember, you're not just walking on bricks. You're stepping on a legacy that needs protecting. Well, if the Chinese can spend millions on artificial sun or DeepSeek, why not spend a few million to preserve the Great Wall of China? After all, there's a need to secure and protect this amazing piece of history for future generations to come. Number 13. Rice was used to build the Great Wall. Stone, brick, wood. These are the usual suspects when it comes to ancient construction. But here's the plot twist. Sticky rice played a huge role in holding the Great Wall of China together. Yep, the same ingredient that gives Chinese dumplings their chewiness also helped fortify one of the greatest architectural achievements in history. The secret? Amylopectin, the magic compound in sticky rice, acted like an early form of cement, bonding stones together and making the wall remarkably durable. In fact, modern researchers have found that this rice mortar was so strong that some sections of the wall are still standing even after centuries of earthquakes, wars, and relentless weathering. Imagine an empire so advanced that they not only built an impenetrable fortress, but also engineered it with a recipe straight out of the kitchen. Next time you dig into a bowl of sticky rice, just remember, you're eating the same stuff that helped shape history. Number 12. The Great Wall is not one long, continuous line. If you imagine the Great Wall as one never-ending snake-like fortress stretching across China, it's time for a reality check. The Great Wall isn't a single uninterrupted barrier. It's actually a network of walls built at different times and in different places, some of which don't even connect. Think of it as a defensive system rather than one giant wall. Some sections run parallel, others branch off in different directions, and many are completely isolated from each other. In fact, in some places, the wall doubles or even triples itself, creating multiple layers of defense. This fragmented design makes sense when you consider its history. Different dynasties had different needs and wishes. So, rather than starting from scratch every time, they built, expanded, or modified existing walls. So, while we call it the Great Wall, it's really a patchwork of walls, towers, and fortifications spread across thousands of miles. Number 11. The Great Wall failed to keep out invaders. Built to keep enemies out, the Great Wall of China was supposed to be an impenetrable defense. But reality had other plans. Despite all its grandeur, this iconic barrier didn't always succeed in stopping invasions. Some of the very people it was meant to keep out still found their way in. Northern nomads, especially the Mongols and the Manchus, repeatedly breached the wall. In fact, the Ming Dynasty, which spent centuries reinforcing and expanding the structure, ultimately fell because of an invasion that happened past the wall. In 1644, the Manchus slipped through a weak point, marched into Beijing, and brought down the dynasty. The problem? The wall was only as strong as the people defending it. If a commander was bribed, or if an army found a weak spot, the entire system crumbled. It turns out that no matter how tall or thick a wall is, human ingenuity or corruption always finds a way. Number 10. Building the Great Wall was a punishment. Forget community service. If you broke the law in ancient China, your sentence might have been building one of the most grueling structures in history. During the Qin dynasty, criminals, prisoners of war, and even regular citizens were forced into labor to construct the Great Wall. And let's be clear, this wasn't a light gig. Workers toiled under brutal conditions, often in extreme weather, with little to no rest. Many died from exhaustion, malnutrition, or accidents, and their bodies were sometimes buried within the wall itself. This gave rise to the grim nickname, the longest cemetery on Earth. Tax evaders, political dissenters, and petty criminals were all sentenced to work on the wall, alongside soldiers and commoners. It wasn't just a project of national pride, it was also a form of punishment and control. Today, we marvel at its size and strength, but for those who built it, the Great Wall was less of a wonder and more of a death sentence. Number 9. A Chinese poem predicted the building of the Great Wall. Centuries before the first stone of the Great Wall was ever laid, ancient Chinese poets seemingly called it into existence. A collection of poetry known as Shi Jing, or Qin Ti, written between the 11th and 7th centuries BCE, described the need for a massive defensive structure to protect China from invaders. Talk about a prophetic verse. These poems are the oldest known collection of Chinese poetry, and while they didn't exactly say, "Hey, let's build a giant wall," they did highlight the importance of fortifications to safeguard the empire. When the construction of the Great Wall began centuries later, it felt less like a new idea and more like an ancient vision finally coming to life. Whether or not the poems directly inspired the wall, their predictions were eerily spot on. They serve as a testament to how deeply China's need for protection was embedded in its cultural consciousness, even long before the first brick was laid. Number 8. The Great Wall tells many legends and myths. The Great Wall isn't just an architectural marvel. It's also a vessel for some of China's most enduring legends. Over centuries, myths have taken root along its stones, weaving together history and folklore in ways that have shaped Chinese culture. Perhaps the most famous of these stories is that of Meng Jiangnu, a woman whose husband was taken away to work on the wall. When she arrived to bring him food, she learned he had died from exhaustion. Overcome with grief, she wept so bitterly that a section of the wall collapsed, revealing his buried remains. The tale is still told in books, songs, and operas across China. Beyond Meng Jiangnu's sorrow, the wall also houses temples and shrines honoring figures like Guan Yu, a legendary general from the Han Dynasty, and Tian Wang, the four heavenly kings of Buddhism. These stories and tributes prove that the Great Wall is more than just a barrier. It's a living monument to Chinese history and faith. Number 7. There are still bullet holes in the Great Wall. While the Great Wall has witnessed thousands of years of battles, one of the most recent conflicts left scars that remain visible today. In the 1930s, the Gubei-ko section of the wall became a battleground during the Second Sino-Japanese War. Today, bullet holes and shell damage from that era can still be seen in its ancient stones. The Gubei-ko Great Wall, located northeast of Beijing, was a strategic military point. When Japanese forces clashed with Chinese troops here, the wall, already centuries old, became part of modern warfare. Some watchtowers were bombed, and entire sections were riddled with bullets, turning a historical relic into a war zone. Unlike other parts of the wall that have been restored, this section remains largely untouched, preserving the battle scars as a reminder of China's resilience. Standing there today, you're not just looking at an ancient fortification, you're looking at a silent witness to war. Number 6. The Great Wall cannot be seen from space. Ask anyone if the Great Wall of China is visible from space, and you'll probably hear a confident yes. The problem? It's not true. This myth has been passed around for centuries, long before anyone actually went to space to check. The idea dates back to 1754, when English scholar William Stukeley claimed the wall could be seen from the moon. That claim gained momentum in 1895, thanks to journalist Henry Norman's book, The Peoples and Politics of the Far East, and in 1932, Ripley's Believe It or Not helped spread it even further. The truth? Well, astronauts, including Neil Armstrong, have repeatedly debunked this myth. The wall is too narrow and blends in too well with its surroundings to be spotted from the moon. At best, under perfect weather conditions, it might be visible from low Earth orbit. But even that's a stretch. Sometimes even history's greatest feats need fact-checking. Number 5. Bricks have been recycled to build homes. The Great Wall has survived emperors, wars, and centuries of erosion, but one of its greatest threats came not from invaders, but from its own people. During China's proletarian cultural revolution, 1966 to 1976, massive portions of the wall were dismantled to provide bricks for homes, farms, and even reservoirs. For ordinary citizens, the wall wasn't just a historic monument, it was a free supply of high-quality construction material. Farmers took stones to build houses, villages used them for roads, and local governments even encouraged repurposing the wall's bricks for infrastructure projects. The result? Entire sections of the wall were stripped down, some of which will never be fully restored. What should have been one of the world's most protected landmarks was instead treated as a local quarry. Today, efforts are being made to preserve what remains, but much of the wall's original structure has been lost forever. Number 4. The Great Wall of China is the longest structure ever built by humans. Forget skyscrapers, highways, and bridges. When it comes to sheer length, the Great Wall of China reigns supreme. Spanning 21,196 kilometers, it holds the title of the longest structure ever built by human hands. To put that into perspective, if you stretch the wall out in a straight line, it would be long enough to reach GPS satellites orbiting Earth. Yes, really. If you wanted to walk its entire length, assuming you covered 20 miles a day, it would take almost 2 years to complete the journey. The wall's insane length isn't just due to one dynasty. It was built, rebuilt, and extended over 2,000 years, with different rulers adding their own sections. And while much of it has crumbled, enough remains for it to still hold the record. So, while you might never see the whole thing in one lifetime, just know that no structure, past or present, has ever matched its sheer scale. Number 3. There is still more of the Great Wall being discovered today. Think we've mapped out the entire Great Wall? Think again. Even today, archaeologists are uncovering forgotten sections of this ancient structure. In 2012, a team using Google Earth spotted a 100-kilometer stretch hidden deep in the Gobi Desert near Mongolia, an area previously overlooked. This discovery suggests that the Great Wall is even bigger than we thought. Over centuries, parts of it have been buried under sand, eroded by time, or simply forgotten. With modern technology, researchers are piecing together more of its vast, complex network. Who knows what else remains undiscovered, except China and the Chinese? Number 2. The Great Wall is a World Heritage Site. More than just an architectural wonder, the Great Wall of China is officially recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a title given only to places of extraordinary cultural, historical, or scientific value. Listed in 1987, the wall is not just a tourist attraction, it's a global symbol of human perseverance and ingenuity. According to UNESCO, it represents far-sighted political strategic thinking and is a masterpiece of ancient military architecture and engineering. This designation means the wall is now legally protected, ensuring that future generations can marvel at its grandeur. But despite this status, parts of the wall still face threats from natural erosion and human activity. Number 1. Roosters were brought to the Great Wall to honor the lost. The Great Wall was built with blood, sweat, and sacrifice, literally. Thousands of laborers died during its construction, leading to a haunting tradition, bringing roosters to the wall to guide lost souls home. Ancient Chinese beliefs held that roosters could communicate with the spirit world. Their crowing was thought to lead the wandering spirits of deceased workers away from the wall, ensuring they didn't remain trapped within its stone and mortar. Families mourning lost loved ones would carry a rooster in their arms, hoping to free their spirits from the wall's grasp. Though this tradition is largely forgotten today, it serves as a reminder that behind this marvel of engineering lies a tragic human cost, one that history refuses to let us forget. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.